Greetings to everyone out there, and welcome back to Around the Clock. Alright, everybody, we have a brand new rumor concerning this Switch 2 situation, and as we heard earlier this week from VideoGamesChronicle.com as well as Eurogamer.com, this Switch 2 will supposedly have a cartridge slot, which could mean backwards compatibility. It will have an LCD screen at launch, and supposedly it is a portable console, which means that it will be a hybrid console just like the Switch is right now. And with all that in mind, there's a new rumor which comes from Nate the Hate and MVG on their latest podcast, which states that this Switch 2 will have a bigger storage capacity up to 512 gigabytes and it will have a bigger screen. So let's hear what they had to say and I'll come back with my commentary.
From a base model all over again. And this is going to be their launch model of the new hardware, which is an LCD display. Now, will they offer a OLED edition of the hardware in a couple of years? Probably. And I think, that was successful for them, so they would do that again. But I think it's important for Nintendo to, number one, not increase costs. They've already kind of mapped this out, and kind of start with that base again. You're starting with that base launch model that is going to get iterated upon and improved and enhanced in key areas. So I think this is just the start of a new generation, and we will see an OLED display, at some point during that generation.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with you that it's going to launch with an LCD screen.
Yep.
I have heard, and again, do not take this as confirmation. This is industry whispers. Consider it like industry. I don't want to say gossip. It's better than industry gossip. Take it as informed speculation. I have been told that it's going to launch with an 8-inch LCD screen. Mm-hmm. And the reason is, as mentioned in the VGC article, to assist in keeping costs down. And that's important to Nintendo because they're going to launch this potentially at a high price. This could be a platform that comes in as just as a speculation point. Let's say $399. Let's say even $449. It's going to be important for Nintendo to recoup cost on manufacturing this hardware as quick as possible.
Yep.
And LCD is cheap. And if they can get that cost down quicker from a business standpoint, that's what you want to do. And it will also allow them to, in the future, as you mentioned, we can release a more premium revision 3-4 years down the line with an OLED screen or however they really want to approach it. And Nintendo has done this with virtually every single handheld that they've brought to market. Yeah, and as the VGC report mentions, that it could launch with the LCD screen instead of the more premium OLED in order to bring costs down, especially considering the increased storage needed for higher fidelity games. Now, this is something I, again, have heard some chatter about. And once again, take it as informed speculation, not confirmation, that Nintendo is looking to equip the Switch successor with a fairly significant amount of internal flash memory. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not talking 1 terabyte range. It's going to be a lot less than that. The ceiling figure that I had heard was 512.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come with 512. It could come in with less, but it seems as though Nintendo is aware they have to give you more than 32 or 64 gigabytes of flash memory to store your digital games. And 512, considering that game size will increase, we could potentially be seeing games come in at 50 gigabytes or at least 32 gigabytes and larger. They understand that, yes, we have to give you significant space to store these games. Otherwise, you're running into that refrigerator situation that you had on the Wii U, and I guess you could make the same case on the Switch, but given the Switch had an easy means of expandable storage via SD card, it never really became too pressing of an issue, especially when a lot of the Switch games from Nintendo themselves, I'll use as a reference, were reasonable in size. I believe Tears of the Kingdom is the biggest game, I believe. Mm-hmm. No, it might be Smash Brothers.
Alright, so as you just heard there from MVG and Nate the Hate on their latest podcast, and definitely check out their latest podcast and their YouTube channel because they're full of great information. So I'll leave a link down to their YouTube page down in the description box. Now, they stated there that this brand new Switch console, and this comes directly from Nate the Hate, that he has heard that this Switch console will launch with an LCD screen, an 8-inch LCD screen to be exact. So that's pretty big news. Also, they have heard that this Switch 2 console will have an internal storage up to 512 gigabytes. Now, they go on to say that that's not going to be the base model range as far as 512 gigabytes. It could have 128, 256, and a 512 range. But this information is something that we definitely need to pay attention to. Of course, like Nate the Hate said here, that this is not pertinent information. This is nothing confirmed or anything like that. So take this as a rumor at this point in time. I don't want anybody to go from this video and say that Around the Clock said that this is all confirmed. No, I never did. This is all a rumor. You can see it right there in the title of this video. But considering all of this quote unquote insider information that we heard so far this week about this Switch 2 coming from VideoGamesChronicle.com, Eurogamer.com, as well as Nate the Hate and MVG, something is definitely happening behind the scenes with this Switch 2. I mean, a lot of people are hearing a lot of information and they're all adding up to be the same thing. So hearing that this Switch console will have an 8-inch LCD screen at launch and the storage capacity will be up to 512 gigabytes, this is very exciting news. Now, the other day, StartMenu.com did state that this Switch 2 console could be revealed or at least announced at the end of this month or possibly at Nintendo September Direct, which could happen. I mean, if they're planning to launch this console next year, the second half of next year, it's a big possibility that they at least announce this Switch 2 console sometime late this year. But again, we will see what happens. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember to keep it locked here at Around the Clock, where here we focus on Nintendo news content around the clock. I'll catch you guys in the next video.